All right, before I start, just in case, this is primary night, so if you haven't voted yet, you might want to run out and skip this and take care of that. Otherwise, welcome. I'm glad to see you're all here today. And I'm going to start sharing my screen. If I can find it. Does everybody see that? Hello? Does everybody see a bird there?
Zoom.
Yep.
Yes,
Yes.
we see it and it's amazing. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, I didn't mean for that to come up. Hold on a minute. Good. This is a picture that was not taken at John Heinz Refuge. This is a picture I took about 15 years ago in a course that was at Project Basho, if anybody remembers Project Basho.
God.
It was Digital Photography 2, I believe. And this is a picture of my bird, Ollie, and taken in my living room. And I don't remember what the assignment was, but at any rate, I was trying to get him to pose for this thing. And he was running all over the place. And I had to take, I don't know how many photos before I got this one. He stopped for a second and I said, oh, good, clicked. But that taught me a lot about birding, which is birds don't pose. They're constantly moving. It's a difficult process. So I just thought I'd start with that. At any rate, this is a photograph of the Refuge, John Heinz Refuge, which I started going to really, well, I'd been there before, but during COVID, it became my place to go, to get out of town and find some serenity and look at birds and other wildlife that's at that location. So at any rate, this is a picture. This is a picture of the refuge, and you'll notice over here on the right is the airport, which is right next to the refuge, and you can actually see airplane. You know, you'll be watching birds and stuff, and suddenly an airplane will take off and come by, but that's all right. Birds don't seem to mind. At any rate, the main part of the refuge is the 3.5 mile loop trail, which goes around what they call the compound, which is sort of like a lake. And you'll see the lake is where the it's I don't know, just usually a couple of feet deep at the most, and then it's just kind of a mucky place, but the birds love it, particularly the waterfowl. So at any rate, this is the main part of the refuge, and then but it does extend all the way down to Route 420, and you can get there from the 420 side as well. But the main part is over here in the Philadelphia side. Just real quickly, a little history. The John Heinz National Wildlife Refuge was the first urban wildlife refuge in the United States. And it was established in 1972. It's currently 993 acres and protects over 200 additional acres of freshwater tidal marsh and includes about 10 miles of trails. And there are other facts there. 150,000 people a year come to visit. National Audubon is designated as an important bird area. Over 300 species of birds come through every year. They don't live there all year round, but they migrate through. And right now is the prime time for that migration. And there are 80 species that have been recorded nesting on the refuge. So they'll be there. They nest there. And you'll see other, wetlands supports a broad variety of plants and bird species while acting as a natural sponge and filter So it's a key environmental part of our ecosystem in this country. It's something that we need to keep, not to destroy, and it's very important for the food chain and for all kinds of getting rid of pollutants and the rest of it, and flooding. It was originally settled by Swedish settlers back in the early 1600s. And it was used as farmland. They basically drained it and diked it, part of it anyway, and used them as farms. And then up to the more present in the mid 1900s, the Corps of Engineers filled in about 4,000 acres with dredge spoils from the Delaware River, and they were going to use it for industrial development. Not a great idea. Two solid waste landfills were established in the marsh in the 60s and 70s, and plans were made to build Interstate 95 through the wetlands, which resulting in massive dredging and filling, that sort of thing. But fortunately, local citizens were alarmed by the plans, and they formed a grassroots group and fought it. And in 1972, the Urban Wildlife Refuge was established. They rerouted 95 so that it didn't go right through the middle of the area, and the landfills were closed. So that's just a brief history of the place. I'm sorry, I went the wrong direction. I'm going to switch now to the kind of equipment I use and what I do, my camera settings. I use a Canon R6, which weighs about 1.5 pounds. That's 20 megapixel full sensor. It's a mirrorless camera. The lens I use is a 100-500 millimeter lens, also a mirrorless lens, and it weighs about 3 pounds. And you can see the f-stop is 4.5 when it's not extended. As you extend it, the f-stop goes up to so that it's 7.1 fully extended. And most of the pictures I take are at a fully extended point. So they're at 7.1%, 7.1 f-stop. I use a monopod, which weighs about a pound. And I have a Wimberley monopod gimbal head, which allows 360-degree flipping of the around of the camera, so you can move it very easily around. All of that weighs about 6.25 pounds, 27 pounds. And I use a harness. So it's what I see people with flags and parades. It's basically the same thing. I put my monopod in the harness, and it holds it up. And actually, I'll show you a picture. That's a picture of me in my nerd outfit there, and you can see this is the harness that's on it. So the monopod goes right down into here. The weight of the camera and the lens, the 6.27 pounds, are distributed on my shoulders rather than, so I don't have to hold it with my arms, which makes it a lot easier. And I found that the pictures are a lot clearer because of the monopod setup. So that's what I use. Camera settings. Again, as I mentioned, the aperture is, the f-stop is set at 7.1 when it's fully extended. And generally, when you're filming birds, you want to go at a fast exposure time. So minimum of usually of 1/500th of a second. And then birds in flight, there's the 1-2-4 rule, which is 1,000, 2,000, and 4,000 of a second. And that's so that, at 4,000, if you're a bird that's really moving fast, like a swallow or a hummingbird or something like that, if you do it at 1/4,000th, you can actually freeze them in motion, so you can see the wings for a lot of detail. If it's a bigger bird, like a blue heron or an egret or something, you'd probably go down to 1,000 or 2,000 on that. And that's for when they're in flight. I generally, when I'm using it, I usually set it at 1,000, and then I'll change it if I need to, depending on what I'm shooting. if I'm walking through the woods more, I might go down to 500, and that's really due more to light than anything else. The other thing about the way I shoot is ISO. I'm shooting with a mirrorless camera, which the ISO is not as finicky as it was on the older cameras. So I'm usually, that's the one button that I will, while I'm shooting, that's the one thing that I'll flip around on, is the ISO. And I use the histogram to determine where I want to be on that shoot. And I usually shoot to the right of the histogram, and then you can, you don't want to clip it, but you want it to be sort of to the right, and then you can always make changes when you go into Photoshop or whatever you use for post-production. And autofocus, I use autofocus a lot, and I use a back button approach with 3 different settings. One is animal tracking, which my camera does. Depends on your camera, but mine actually has an animal tracking setting, and it focuses actually right on the eye of the animal. I also use a zone and a spot, and depending on, if there are trees in the way or bushes or something, you might want to go to spot or zone. But I generally use one of those 3, and I have it on the back so I can change it very easily. I usually do things in a burst mode. And the reason is because if birds are moving, if you take a burst, you can then pick out the best picture from the group. So I hope there aren't any questions about that. I'm going to move on. If there are any questions, please feel free during the presentation, or you can wait till the end and ask questions. But that's my general approach. Okay. Okay, first picture. This is a swallow. Let me get it down. This is a barn swallow, actually. And this little guy didn't mind me taking his picture. I got pretty close to him and was able to grab that nice little picture. Again, I was using an autofocus that focused on his eyes. And that's the picture I ended up with. Oops. That's another picture of a barn swallow. I just took this last week, actually. And again, he was just sitting there still, and he didn't seem to mind. I got up pretty close to him. I was probably about 5 or 6 feet away from him. This was taken on when you go to the to John Heinz. If you go to the main area and you walk in, there's a boardwalk that goes across the water compound, and it's an actual boardwalk, and you can actually walk across that. And this down here, the thing he's standing on, is the railing of that boardwalk. And they like to sit on that, and then they'll jump off and fly, and they'll actually fly under the boardwalk and around. They're very fast, and they're fun to watch. But that's a barn swallow. Sorry, happens again. Here's another barn swallow picture. It's mating season, and this guy is up here is showing off to the lady over here, trying to get her attention. Obviously, seems to be working at the moment. And again, I took this at probably 4,000, so he was moving very fast, but I managed to catch his wings almost still. And again, you'll notice that the camera is actually focused right on his eyeball. That's the autofocus from the Canon. Okay, there's another. These are tree swallows. Difference being they don't have any orange on their heads. They're just blue and white. And this is one of that a birdhouse that they actually will mate in. Okay, there's another guy. Caught him in flight, again, 4,000. And this is really cropped in. But I just love the way the wings point up at the ends. I think it's a nice picture. Oops, going the wrong way. Another barn swallow flying along. Again, at 1/4,000 to catch the thing in motion. And this is a picture of making whoopee, I call this picture. This is the male up here and the female, and they're having a good time. Okay. This is a blue-gray gnatcatcher. These are tiny little birds, and as the name suggests, they like to eat bugs. And you'll see them, they're hard to see up high, but this guy managed to come down and I got a nice close-up of him. He posed there for me for a second. This is a ruby crowned kinglet. That's the name of this one. And he's standing up on some branches. And they're they're fast. They'll come in, land, and take off again very quickly. So you have to be very quick when you're taking the shots. That's why I do it on bursts so that I'll get him. A lot of times I'll have a picture of him still, and the next one is he's flying off somewhere. So. This is a common yellow throat. They're around right now. You can see them. They're kind of pretty looking birds. And this is also a yellow throat. So this is a close-up of it, and he's in a different position. This way, when he's looks kind of round, this one he's a little bit more extended out. And again, they like to eat little bugs. There he is with his bug in it, with his dinner in his mouth. This is a phoebe. The reason they call it a phoebe is because that's the noise they make. Phoebe, Phoebe, Phoebe. And a lot of times that's when I'm out looking for birds, I'll listen for them yapping away, and I'll look up and try to figure out where they're at. And this guy actually came in, and I was standing in a little cabin that's called a blind, that's right in the swamp. And he just happened to land right in front of where I was at, and I got a nice close-up picture of him standing there. This is a white-throated sparrow. And you'll notice the yellow on his, over his eyes, on his eyelids, eyebrows. And this is mating season, and a lot of times birds in mating season, these things like the yellow up here, will really become pronounced. If you go in season when it's not mating, they're not so pronounced. But right now he's looking for a mate, so he's dressed to go. This is an eastern wood pewee, another little bird that goes through. He's likes to eat bugs. They all like to eat bugs, these little guys. This is a song sparrow up close, and they make a really nice sound. If you hear them, they'll just start yapping away, and follow where they are and you can see what they look like. One thing I wanted to mention, when I'm doing this, if I don't know what bird it is, a lot of times I'll take the picture, and I've only been doing this for a few years, so there are a lot of birds I don't know. But I'll take a picture of it. After I take a picture of it, I'll come home, put it on my computer, and then I'll take a picture with my camera using an app called Merlin. And it's put out by Cornell Labs. And if you take a picture of a bird and it asks you where you took it, it will identify what bird it is, just from the picture. And sometimes if it's not sure, it'll give you a list of birds, but if you get a good enough picture, it'll nail it and tell you what it is. It also has a sound thing, so you can actually take the app while you're out, and if the bird's singing, you can record the sound and it'll tell you what bird it is that's singing. This is a song sparrow as well. It's a little crest up right now. And there's another guy singing away. I just took that the other day, actually. This is a Carolina wren. And this is actually a Carolina wren as well. So you can see this has direct light on it. So it really comes out very yellowish and lit up. This is where he was more back into the shadows. And but it is actually the same bird, same type of bird. This guy is a American goldfinch. And they're tiny little birds. It's also the state bird of New Jersey, if you're interested. This is a palm warbler. The warblers are the ones that make the nice noises, and they're the ones that are coming through right now, this time of year, on the migration. A lot of them nest around here as well. Okay, another one. This is a yellow rumped warbler. I don't know why they call it a yellow rumped warbler, because their rumps are not yellow, but that's their name. They do have the yellow patch on their wing. He's sitting around waiting for someone to show up, I guess. This is a yellow warbler. And these are tiny birds, and there are tons of these around right now. They're actually all over the place. Another yellow warbler. This is a black and white warbler, upside down, but they're around at this time of the year too. Another warbler. This is a vireo, warbling vireo. The name of that one. And they're a little harder to find, but they're around this time of year. Baltimore Oriole, and they're around this time of year as well, and they make a nice noise. And this one, I heard the noise and finally tracked them down. And once you see them, they pop out because of their coloring. That's an orchard oriole, very similar in size but different color. And they're around right now as well. There's another picture of them sitting up on top of the leaves. This is called a redstart, American redstart, and they're around as well. They're smaller than the orioles. Very, very pretty bird. That's another redstart. You'll find them. They like to bury themselves in the leaves, so that they're difficult to spot. But once you get one, they're really beautiful. There's a cardinal. That's a male cardinal. And that's a female cardinal. Notice it's slightly different coloring, but they are, a lot of times the male will be more brightly colored than the female. And the reason is to protect the babies. The female will stay with the babies, and the male will prance around and get the attention of whatever things is around and try to lead them away from the nest. It's another cardinal. A little flip on the leaf there. Your common blue jay, they're around. And that's a hummingbird. That was shot at 1/4000th of a second. And I was lucky because I was walking by and I happened to have my camera set at 1/4000th when I saw him. So I picked it up and did the best I could and managed to get that shot, which is nice because usually these wings are flapping so fast you can't even see them. They'll dart in and out. I managed to catch him just like that. Okay, woodpeckers. This is a downy woodpecker. These are small guys. You'll see them in this area. They're pretty plentiful and they're around all year round. That was actually taken in the fall. You'll notice that there's no leaves on the trees around it. So makes it easier to spot them. There's another guy, same thing. And this guy is actually a hairy woodpecker. And they look very similar to the downies, but they're a little larger and their beaks are a little longer. And the one up top here is actually a baby bird. And this guy, and this is a male because you can see the red there. The females don't have the red on top of their heads. But he's gone and pecked into a tree and gotten whatever this lovely stuff is. And he actually went right up and stuck it in the baby's mouth and fed him while I was taking pictures. And that is a red-bellied woodpecker. I don't know why they call them that. A lot of times, I don't know why they name them what they do, because their bellies are not red, their heads are red. But whatever, these guys are a little larger than the downy woodpeckers and the hairy woodpeckers. And they make a lot of noise when they're pecking. The downy woodpeckers don't make much of a noise. These guys do. Red-winged blackbird, there's tons of these. These guys show up early like in April, early April, they'll start showing up, and then they're around all summer long. They leave in the winter, and I guess they go south. There's a close-up of one. That's again on that railing at on the boardwalk. And this guy, if you talk to the birders there, everybody knows this particular bird. They call him Baldy because he's got this cut in the head. He shows up a lot. And another red wing, and he's doing his mating kind of thing where he's puffing himself out, trying to look appealing, I guess, to female. The females are not, they're kind of brown, and they don't have the red wing thing on them. And they look like a lot of other birds. And that's the case with a lot of birds. The females are not nearly as dramatic looking as the males. And that's a red-winged blackbird. He's diving in to get a piece of bread that somebody threw in the water. I managed to catch him in motion. That's a rusty blackbird, and his head, it's hard to see in this picture, but his head is more of a rusty color. You can sort of see a little bit in there. And the rest of their body is black. And I took that a couple of months ago. They show up early in the migration. That's also a rusty, and you can see his head is more rusty. It's more obvious. They make a peculiar noise, which I'm not going to try to imitate, but if you know the noise, you listen to that, and you can look around and usually find them. This is a kingfisher, and this bird will fly in, and using his beak, he'll go in and fish for little fish. Usually goes for small ones. He's about, I don't know, a foot tall at the most, with a long beak there. And they're very fast. I've tried taking pictures of these guys catching fish, and it's like, they're so fast. It's amazing. They just swoop right down, whoop, pick it up, and run away with their fish. One of these days I'll get one. This is called the cedar waxwing. They kind of look cedary. I don't know what he's eating there, but or maybe he's getting something together for his nest. I'm not sure. They're around. This is a flicker, called a flicker, and they're bigger than a robin. They're very colorful. Little red thing on their head, on the back of their head. He was actually high up in a tree when I took this picture. I cropped this in. It came out pretty well, I think. Okay, this is a sandpiper, spotted sandpiper. And they show up right around this time of year, and they lurk in the swampy areas. They don't make a lot of noise. And they blend right in with the trees and the other stuff. So they're difficult to see, but once you see one, they're kind of interesting to look at. There's other creatures like that too that come in. And a lot of times you'll walk right by them without seeing them. They blend right into their background. Okay, and I'm going to go to waterfowl. These are obviously Canadian geese, which I think everybody is familiar with. They were flying by. Again, I took this at probably 1/2000 would be my guess. Second, try to catch their wings and to make them still. Another goose flying by, and that's a heron in the background who's sitting there. And this was at sunset on the last fall, actually. You got that nice red sunlight that reflected in the water. And I managed to get that picture. A couple of mallard geese. The male is on the left over here, and the female is over here. You can see the difference in coloration. And they were just in the back swampy area, just sort of hanging out. That's a female. I got a nice close-up of that one. And you'll notice they're mostly brown, but they do have this little coloration usually in the back of their feathers. This is a ruddy duck, and they show up. This is taken in March. They come in a little bit early, but you'll see them. And they have a blue beak and a white and black head, mostly white and black. Again, this was focused on the eyeball. He was swimming by. This is a hooded merganser. And these are small ducks, but they have this interesting head. And this is the male right here swimming by. And that's the female swimming by. You'll notice there's your male with the yellow eye and the black and white on the head. And that's what the female looks like. They blend in more with the background. I think they're pretty cool. I like the females better, actually. That's an American coot, another kind of duck, shows up, and this, again, was taken, I think, in February of this year. They have a red eye over here. This didn't focus so much on the eye. And this is a northern shoveler. It's another kind of duck. Their beak is very wide, and it's a big beak, kind of looks like a shovel. That's why they're called shovelers. And these are wood ducks, which are my favorite ducks. And again, this is a female on the left and a male on the right. You'll notice the female on the back has some color back here, but it's mostly this darker brown and white. Whereas the male looks like he's got a helmet on, a lot of color, green and red and orange, red eye around the eye. They're very skittish, so if you see them, they immediately take off. Another picture of them, a little closer up. And there's one skidding away. He didn't want to be, he didn't like me taking his picture, but got a good picture anyway. I like the drops of water flying off his wings. You can see it in motion. I had this probably set at 500 or maybe even 320. I think I was trying the one before it was what I was taking a picture of, and then he took off on me. So I did. So that's why it's blurred out. But I kind of like the motion picture. And again, this was in a lower light situation, so I went a little lower than I usually would. And another pair going into the sunsets. This is a green heron, and they are small herons. They're not as big as the great blues, obviously, and they have short legs, but they have a long neck. And you can watch them, and they'll sit there, and then, well, they usually will sit in the water and then take their head and boom, go down and catch a fish, and you can watch them eat the fish. That's the same bird, but its neck is retracted, but it's actually the exact same bird. It's taken the same day. And that's a great blue heron. I'm into waterfowl at this point. And they're fairly large. This guy was on an observation deck, and he flew by, and I got a nice picture of him with his wings spread. And again, this was probably at least 2,000, if not 4,000. Yeah, the speed. Same thing. Rear view. I like their feet. They always have their feet hanging straight out as they fly in the back. There he is. You can see his legs are extended out as he flies by. This is, by the way, is the observation deck. You can see it's 2 stories high with a staircase. You can, if you walk around, you can actually go up, stand up there, and take some nice pictures from there and get a nice view. This was last fall, and you can notice the coloration of the trees. It's really nice in the fall. It's nice all year, but the fall colors are very nice. That's a close-up of a great blue heron's head. Again, focused on the eyeball. And there's one with a nice reflection in the water. I like the legs in particular. Another one's walking along the piece of wood that they've stuck out here in the water for them to sit on. A lot of times, by the way, if you come, you'll see turtles all over these things, just coming up here to sun. This is an upside down picture. So the reflection's on top, and the real bird is on the bottom of this one. And there's one of just the reflection in the water. So I like the 3 eyeballs on the bottom here, particularly. Another one, he was actually fishing, looking for a fish. When he sees one, he'll just dart down right in the water and grab him up. And once they grab him up, they eat him. This guy's got that fish. He just caught it, and he eats it whole. He just puts his head up, and it goes right down through his neck, and you can actually see it sometimes in the neck as it's going down. This is at the far end of the compound. There is an island. It's actually where the eagles nest up here too. But this is where the heron rookery is. And these are all herons that are nesting. This was taken in March, I believe. And they were all building their nests and getting them ready for the chicks to come. And they're still up there. And now you can't really see them because the leaves have grown over them. That's a picture. And there's about 20 of these nests up here of these of the herons. and one eagle nest on the other side. Another one, it's a great blue heron in the late evening. I just like the picture. And another one. This was also in the right near sunset. You can see the water turns that nice red color. And this was actually taken, I could hardly see him. I had to play with him a bit in Photoshop to get it to come out, but it came out pretty nicely, I thought. And that's a blue heron on a tree limb at sunset, right after the sun had set. I just happened to be walking by and glanced over, and there he was standing there. And same one, but he put his other leg down. Nice silhouette. This is a egret, a white egret. And he's got the orange beak with the yellow eye, and he's all white, long legs. You can watch them fish as well. And they're all over the place at this time of year. These guys leave. The great blue herons are there all year round. Most of the egrets leave and go south. They come back at this time of year. There's a picture of the egret taken from the boardwalk as he flies over. If you go there at sunset or near sunset, you can watch them. All the egrets will fly right over the bridge, and they're on their way back to where they roost at night. So it's a really good time if you want to watch egrets come by. There's one standing in a tree, with his wings spread. And this was taken at sunset, so that the red light was coming through from the sun, right through his wings. And he was flying over the boardwalk. He managed to get that shot. Okay, another reversed. This is the shadow, and this is the actual egret. Just playing with that idea. And here they are, all groups doing a little ballet. And this was taken shooting into the sun, so you get these nice colors and the reflection around the birds. But these are all egrets, a whole group of them. They'll hang out together. I like the bands of yellow and green light through here. Very pretty. That was taken in the morning. Okay, now on to hawks. This is a hawk that I caught standing in a swamp. And this was actually taken at the other side of the refuge over by Route 420. He's a red-shouldered hawk. That's also a red-shouldered hawk. You can see the red on his shoulders on this one. A little yellow up here on its beak. And again, it was focused on its eye. So it was also a very dark shot. So that was taken in the woods near where he roosts. That's another red shoulder hawk. And that's a red-tailed hawk, although you can't see its tail, but that's what it is. And he was standing on this cement abutment, which is at one end of the compound. He didn't mind me taking his picture. He sat there quite a while, actually. And that's a harrier hawk. They're smaller hawks, and they fly kind of like what a Harrier airplane. I mean, that's why they named the Harrier airplanes after them. And they'll swoop in and grab, mice or voles or whatever rabbits, whatever they can get. It's another hawk standing on a tree. This was taken on the 420 side. This tree is growing in the middle of the swamp all by itself. That's an osprey. The osprey come in, they're fairly large, almost as large as an eagle. And they catch fish with their claws. So they actually swoop right down into the water, grab the fish, and then come back up, take it wherever they're going. And managed to catch him right as he was coming up with the fish. There's another one. He's got his fish and he's on his way back to his nest or wherever to eat that fish. This is not, I like this with the detail of the wings and the eyeball again. That's where it was focused. I was actually standing on that observation deck that I showed earlier, and he came right by me and I got that nice shot. It's an eagle. I was walking along the trail over on the 420 side, and I actually walked right under the guy, and then I went down a little ways and I turned around and I looked up and I saw, oh, there he is. He was right there. He just stood there and let me take his picture. There's one, this one was actually on a high tension wire and he jumped off. I was waiting for him to jump. I had a tripod on this one actually. And you'll notice the two bands on there. He's been banded twice to do tracking on him. They will, when they find them, the people that follow eagle migrations will do that. And it just means he's been found twice at different locations. There's information on these bands. Close up of his head. See the beak, the eyeball. Eagle flying by. There are at least 2 eagles that mate there, and there are other eagles that come through. And I've actually heard that there's now another pair that are living on the nearby the compound. Another eagle going by. And this is actually the one on the right is a juvenile eagle. And this guy, I was trying to take this guy's picture and he was actually just standing on the branch over here. And I was focused on him and all of a sudden this other one swooped in and pushed this guy away. So I got this nice action shot of him in motion there. I believe that's it. That would be my presentation. Just a little information. John Heinz, the main entrance and visitor center are located on Lindbergh Avenue, just off of 86th Street. And you go in there, that's where the main parking lot is. And there's a visitor center that you can go into. You can get maps there and other things as well. And ask for directions and suggestions from the rangers. I am on the board of the Friends of Heinz Refuge. And they have a monthly bulletin, which you can get if you go to the Friends of Heinz Refuge website and go to, I put it right here. And you can get on their monthly mailing list and they'll send it to you. There is a Fans of John Heinz website on Facebook, which I belong to, and a lot of other photographers belong to, and they will post daily, post pictures of birds that they're seeing at the site. And you can join this. Anybody's welcome to join it, and you can submit pictures if you want, or just look at the pictures. And lastly, I just wanted to mention that I'm working actually on this Nature in Focus photo competition, which will be open to take pictures starting June 15th on our website. Again, that's at the website. And you can post pictures from June 15th till about the end of July, July 30th, so about 6 to 7 weeks. There are cash prizes for first, second, and third prizes. And there are 3 divisions, one for children under 12, and one for teens, and one for adults. The children under 12, we're only letting them submit 1 picture, but we're going to print all of those pictures and mount them there'll be 8 by 10 pictures mounted on a board, and they'll all be in the show. And at the end of the show, they'll be given to the children to take home. Teens and adults, you can submit up to 3 pictures at $5 an entry. And if you're invited, the top 25 will be invited to submit mounted photos for the physical exhibition. And the exhibition will be at the visitor center. And prizes will be given out in September at the Fall Festival, which is in mid-September. And there will be details on this coming up. If you want, you can send me a email, and I will send you these information pages with the links. My email is mcohen107@gmail.com. And that's
Matt,
it.
a billion thank yous. This was such an amazing presentation. There was one question that came up because the person joined a little bit later. And it was, just go over the camera, the camera that you use, please.
Okay, I use a Canon R6, which is a mirrorless camera, about 20 megapixels. It's not their top of the line one, but it's a really good camera. The R5 is the one that has like 40, I don't know, 50 megapixels or something. Mine only has 20, but it does a pretty good job. I use a 100 to 500 millimeter mirrorless lens, also a Canon lens for my shots. And anything else that person wanted to know, or anyone else? Any questions?
Everyone is mesmerized. They're just mesmerized. What can I tell you? They're like, wow, wow, whoa, wow. And it's just amazing how the focus goes on the eye.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just, wow. That's all I can just say. It's just
It
really,
is.
really super
The eyeball.
amazing. So yeah, thank you. And Adam, please mention who the next presenter is going to be next month, please. It should be a slide right up there. Woo. Yep. There was another question from Dave. He was asking, have you ever been to the sunken forest on Fire Island?
No. Sounds nice. No, I've never been to Fire Island, actually.
And there were just a lot of compliments, just excellent presentation, great job. It was quite a few exotic birds too. Yes, everyone really just had a really good time tonight. So
Yeah.
really.
The amazing thing is that all these birds are right here in Philadelphia. So, you don't have to go far to find them. There are other places in the area, obviously, that you can look as well. But I found John Heinz just seems to get the most variety around. I mean, they get over 300 varieties a year. So it's a good place to go. Not to put down anywhere else.
Thank you so much for bringing it to our attention, because I think a lot of us kind of knew it was sort of there, but I don't think they realized what it meant as far as bird photography.
I went for my first time last week.
Right.
Yes, we're gonna be inspired. Yes, I think yes. Wow. But we're not going to come. Yeah, you've done such an excellent job. It's just absolutely.
I would mention also that if you go to the main parking area, there is a paved trail actually that goes to that boardwalk, and it's not far. but it's wheelchair accessible.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, and I see people with wheelchairs that go out there, and it's easy to get to. And you get some incredible views just standing on that boardwalk. So it's pretty amazing.
Next month is Claire Fleming. We kind of know about the Photographic Society. We know we just celebrated our 160th year. But what does that really mean? Like, where did it start, and how did it take place, and what's the background? And Claire Fleming has done an incredible amount of research. She has beautiful illustrations to go along with her presentation. And it's just the early years of the Photographic Society from 1862 to 1945. And it's amazing. It's truly, truly, truly amazing information about a photographic society and what was involved with the people who started it. We're the third oldest in the world after London and Paris. And it's just really exciting to think that we kind of have a history. We really do have a history. And so save the date for June 20th. I think you'll definitely enjoy her presentation. Anybody else have any messages? You know that the Photographic Society has been invited to present their work at a museum in Romania. And if you're interested, I've been sending out the announcement. And I will send the announcement once again to make sure that no one has missed it. And then John Benigno is really organizing this whole thing. And so your contact, John Benigno will be your contact person. But I will again send information to make sure that no one has missed the opportunity. And yeah, so that's exciting.
Eileen,
And
it's
the reason, yes,
it's a community art center, not a museum. And it's very active. They have photography, sculpture. I mean, it's just amazing what they do. They have programs that work with prisons, programs that work with children. I mean, it's really quite a active organization.
and it's really a privilege. It really is a privilege for us to be invited.
I think so.
And it's really kind of unique. I don't know if any of you have been following the information that I've been sending out and that John has been sending out. But what we were going to do is we're going to pick the photography, and then we're going to send them out, basically the JPEGs, and they are going to print it, frame it, and hang it. And wow, I just.
Eileen, no, you have to go to Romania and hang it.
Yes, I will. Yeah. I'll bring John. I'll bring my husband. John was born in Romania. He would really love to go back there. Yes. So, and so, John, thank you. And Matt, gee whiz, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
We've gotten there were a good there are about 28 people that have joined us for this meeting, which is really good considering that it's a voting night.
Right.
People are busy. The program is recorded and it will be placed in the Photographic Society Philadelphia YouTube format. So anyone who's missed it, anyone who really needs to see it again, boy, yeah, wow. that if that's an opportunity not to be missed. All right, on that, all those happy notes, I'm going to tell everybody to have a really, really, really good night. And we look forward to
you,
seeing
Wendy.
you again in June. And I also look forward to having you tell John Benigno if you're interested in joining in on the exhibit in Romania.
Eileen, I think we have just shy of 25 people who have responded at this point.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens. I will send out the initial invitation. And then I will also send the final how-tos to the people who've already responded. So once again, I just thank everyone. It's really just been very rewarding for me to continue as your president. And it's just, yeah, like, what can I tell you? It's like, you know, she just keeps on keeping on is what's going on. So thank you and good night, everyone. Please have a safe night and enjoy this summer weather. Summer has arrived.
night
And
to
yes,
you.
there were a lot of thank yous coming in. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And
Good night.
good night.
Good night.